The city hummed with secrets, but none burned brighter than the one Emma Caldwell carried in her heart. At 28, she stood on the edge of a San Francisco rooftop, her tailored blazer catching the wind, her dark eyes scanning the glittering skyline as if it could answer her unraveling life. She was a millionaire, a tech prodigy who'd built an empire from nothing. Yet tonight, she felt like a pawn in someone else's game. Her father's ultimatum had come like a blade. Marry the son of his business partner, a man she barely knew, to secure a merger that would cement the Caldwell legacy. Emma had no intention of bending to his will, not when her heart belonged elsewhere, not when she'd already found a way out. Below, in the vibrant chaos of the Mission District, a woman named Lila Monroe waited, unaware that her own past was a ticking bomb threatening to destroy them both. Emma had met Lila 3 months ago in a crowded coffee shop on Valencia Street. The air smelled of roasted beans and rain-soaked pavement, and Emma, exhausted from a boardroom battle, had nearly missed the woman sketching quietly in the corner. Lila, 27, with auburn hair cascading in waves and eyes that held a quiet storm, was sketching a street scene with such intensity that Emma couldn't look away. Their first conversation was a collision of wit and warmth, Lila's sharp humor cutting through Emma's guarded walls. By the end of the night, Emma knew she'd found something real, something worth risking everything for. But Emma's plan was reckless, even for her. To escape the arranged marriage, she'd proposed to Lila after only 6 weeks, a whirlwind decision born of desperation and desire. Lila, a struggling artist scraping by on freelance gigs, had laughed at first, thinking it a joke. "You're a millionaire, Emma. Why me?" she'd asked, her voice trembling with disbelief. Emma's answer was simple. "Because you see me, not my money." Lila had said yes, her heart racing with hope, unaware of the shadows trailing her from a past she'd fought to bury. Their wedding was small, a quiet ceremony in a garden overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. Emma wore a cream suit, her short hair tousled just so, while Lila glowed in a simple ivory dress, her smile brighter than the sunset. Friends cheered, strangers clapped, and for a moment, the world felt right. But Emma's father, Richard Caldwell, was not a man to be defied. His fury simmered beneath polished smiles, and his investigators were already digging into Lila's life, searching for leverage to tear the marriage apart. Lila's past was a labyrinth of pain. Born in a small Ohio town, she'd fled at 18, escaping a family that saw her queerness as a sin. She'd rebuilt herself in Chicago, hustling as a street artist, until a dangerous entanglement with a local gang leader named Marcus Kane changed everything. Lila had witnessed something she shouldn't have. A deal gone wrong, a body left in an alley. She'd run again, this time to San Francisco, changing her name and burying her fear. But Marcus's reach was long, and his grudge was deadly. Lila thought she'd outrun him, but the past has a way of catching up. Emma, meanwhile, was fighting battles of her own. Her company, Nexus Tech, was on the verge of a breakthrough in sustainable energy, a project she'd poured her soul into. But her father's merger threatened to strip her control, handing Nexus Tech to a board that cared more for profit than progress. Marrying Lila had been her rebellion, a way to claim her freedom, but it came with a cost. Whispers of scandal followed her. Investors questioned her judgment, and her father's allies painted Lila as a gold digger. Emma didn't care. She loved Lila's fire, her resilience, the way her laughter could light up even the darkest days. Yet doubt crept in. Lila was guarded, her smile sometimes faltering when she thought Emma wasn't looking. Late at night, Emma would find her staring out their apartment window, her fingers tracing the scars on her wrist, scars she never explained. Just old battles, Lila would say, brushing it off. Emma wanted to believe her, but the weight of their rushed marriage pressed harder each day. What did she really know about the woman she'd vowed to love forever? One evening, as they sat on their balcony overlooking the bay, Lila's phone buzzed with a message that made her face go pale. "Wrong number," she muttered, but her hands shook as she deleted it. Emma's heart sank. She'd seen that look before, fear, raw and unfiltered. "Lila, talk to me," she pleaded, reaching for her hand. Lila pulled away, her eyes darting to the street below, as if expecting someone to emerge from the shadows. "It's nothing," she said, but her voice cracked, and Emma knew it was a lie. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She lay beside Lila, listening to her uneven breathing, wondering what secrets lay hidden in the space between them. She'd married Lila to escape her father's control, but now she wondered if she traded one cage for another. The city outside their window glittered with promise, but beneath its glow, danger was closing in. The next morning, Emma found a note slipped under their apartment door. Scrawled in jagged handwriting were the words, "You can't hide forever, Lila." Her stomach churned as she hid the note before Lila woke. Whoever was hunting her wife wasn't just a ghost from the past. They were here in San Francisco, and they knew where to find her. Emma's first instinct was to protect Lila, but how could she fight an enemy she didn't understand? At Nexus Tech, the pressure was mounting. Her father's allies scheduled an emergency board meeting, pushing to oust her as CEO. Emma fought back with every ounce of her brilliance, presenting data on the energy project's potential to change the world. But her focus wavered. Lila's fear haunted her. During a break, she called a private investigator, a woman named Tara Voss, known for discretion. "Find out who Lila Monroe really is," Emma said, hating herself for the words. "I need to know what she's running from." Tara's report came faster than expected. Lila Monroe wasn't her real name. She was born Eliza Marie Thornton, and her past was a tangle of aliases and dead ends. The gang leader, Marcus Kane, had a bounty on her head, believing she'd stolen something from him, a ledger detailing his operations. Lila hadn't just witnessed a crime. She was a target. Emma's heart pounded as she read the file, guilt and love warring within her. She'd married Lila to defy her father, but now she was in too deep, bound to a woman whose secrets could destroy them both. That evening, Emma confronted Lila. They stood in their kitchen, the city lights casting long shadows across the counter. "Who's Eliza Thornton?" Emma asked, her voice steady but her heart racing. Lila froze, her mug slipping from her hands and shattering on the floor. "You had me investigated?" she whispered, her eyes wide with betrayal. Emma stepped closer, desperate to bridge the gap. "I'm trying to protect us, Lila, but I can't if you don't trust me." Lila's shoulders sagged, and for the first time, she told the truth. She recounted her escape from Ohio, her years in Chicago, the night she saw Marcus kill a man. She'd taken the ledger to protect herself, hoping to use it as leverage if he ever found her. "I thought I could start over," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I thought I could be someone you'd love." Emma pulled her close, her own eyes burning. "You are that person," she whispered, "but we have to face this together." Their moment of honesty was shattered by a knock at the door. Heavy, deliberate, it sent a chill through the room. Lila's face drained of color. "He's here," she whispered, clutching Emma's hand. Emma didn't know who was on the other side, but she knew one thing. She'd fight for Lila, no matter the cost. The knock echoed like a gunshot in Emma's chest. Lila's grip tightened, her nails digging into Emma's palm as they stared at the door. "Don't open it," Lila whispered, her voice barely audible, her eyes wide with terror. Emma's mind raced. She wasn't built for this. Boardrooms and algorithms were her battlefield. Not whatever darkness waited outside. But the woman she loved was trembling, and that was enough to steel her resolve. She gently pried Lila's hand free and stepped toward the door, her heart pounding. "Stay behind me," she said, her voice low but firm. Lila nodded, her breath hitching as she pressed herself against the wall. Peering through the peephole, Emma saw a man in a dark jacket, his face shadowed by a baseball cap. He knocked again, harder, and called out, "Eliza, I know you're in there." His voice was gravelly, laced with menace. Emma's blood ran cold. This was Marcus Kane, the ghost from Lila's past, now standing in their present. Emma turned to Lila, whose face was a mask of dread. "We need to get out of here," Emma whispered, grabbing her phone to text Tara Voss, the investigator. "Intruder at my apartment. Marcus Kane. Help." She hit send, praying Tara was as good as her reputation. Then, moving quickly, she pulled Lila toward the fire escape. "We're not waiting for him to break in." The San Francisco night was cool, the city's hum a stark contrast to the chaos in Emma's mind. They climbed down the metal stairs, Lila's hands shaking but her steps steady. At the bottom, they slipped into an alley, the scent of damp asphalt and garbage mingling with their fear. "Where do we go?" Lila asked, her voice small but resolute. "My office," Emma said. Nexus Tech's headquarters had security, cameras, and a panic room she'd installed after a cyber attack last year. It was their best shot. They moved through the Mission District's vibrant streets, blending into the crowd of late-night revelers. Emma kept her arm around Lila, her eyes scanning for any sign of pursuit. Lila's silence was heavy, her earlier confession still hanging between them. At Nexus Tech, the glass building loomed like a fortress. Emma swiped her keycard, and they slipped inside, the lobby's sterile calm a brief reprieve. In the elevator, Lila finally spoke. "I'm sorry, Emma. I never wanted to drag you into this." Her voice cracked, and Emma saw the weight of years, running, hiding, surviving, etched into her face. "You didn't drag me anywhere," Emma said, cupping Lila's cheek. "I chose you, and I'd do it again." Lila's eyes shimmered with tears, but before she could respond, Emma's phone buzzed. It was Tara. "Kane's been tailing you. He's outside Nexus Tech. Stay put. I'm on my way." Emma's stomach dropped. She led Lila to the top floor, to her office, where a hidden panel concealed the panic room. Inside, the small space was equipped with monitors, a phone, and enough supplies for days. Emma locked the door behind them, the click sounding final. "We're safe here," she said, though her own fear gnawed at her. Lila sank onto a chair, her hands twisting in her lap. "He won't stop, Emma. Marcus doesn't forgive. That ledger, I hid it in Chicago, but he thinks I still have it. He'll kill me to make sure it stays buried." Her voice was raw, each word a wound reopened. Emma knelt before her, taking her hands. "He's not getting to you. Not while I'm here." She meant it, but the weight of their situation pressed harder. Marcus wasn't just a thug. He was a predator with resources, and Emma's wealth couldn't shield them forever. The monitors flickered, showing the lobby. A figure moved through the shadows. Marcus, his cap pulled low, slipping past the security desk. Emma's heart raced. The guards were trained, but Marcus was a ghost, moving with purpose. "How did he get in?" Lila whispered, her voice trembling. Emma didn't answer. She was already dialing Tara, who picked up on the first ring. "He's inside," Emma said, keeping her voice steady. Tara's response was clipped. "I'm 5 minutes out. Keep the panic room locked. Do not engage." Emma hung up, her mind spinning. 5 minutes felt like an eternity. Lila's breathing was shallow, her eyes fixed on the monitors. "This is my fault," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I should have told you everything from the start." Emma wanted to argue, to say it didn't matter. But the truth was, Lila's secrets had brought a killer to their door. Still, Emma's love outweighed her fear. She squeezed Lila's hand. "We'll get through this. Together." The monitors showed Marcus moving up the stairwell, a gun glinting in his hand. Emma's pulse thundered. She wasn't a fighter, but she was a strategist. She accessed the building's security system from the panic room's console, locking down the elevators and sealing the stairwell doors. It wouldn't stop Marcus forever, but it would buy time. Lila watched, her fear giving way to a flicker of resolve. "There's something else," she said, her voice steadier. "The ledger, it's not just about Marcus's deals. It has names, dates, connections to people in power. That's why he's so desperate." Emma's eyes widened. This wasn't just about Lila's survival. It was about exposing a network that could shake the city. Before Emma could respond, the panic room's phone rang, startling them both. Emma answered, expecting Tara, but a man's voice came through, cold and deliberate. "Eliza, you've got something that belongs to me. Open the door, and maybe your rich wife lives." It was Marcus. He'd found the panic room's line. Emma's blood ran cold, but she forced her voice to stay calm. "You're not getting in here, Kane. Walk away while you still can." His laugh was low, menacing. "You don't know who you're protecting, do you? Ask her about Chicago. Ask her what she did." Lila's face crumpled, and Emma's heart twisted. She hung up, turning to Lila. "What's he talking about?" she asked, her voice soft but urgent. Lila's eyes filled with tears. "I didn't just take the ledger," she admitted. I turned someone in to save myself. Someone who trusted me. That's why Marcus wants me dead." The revelation hit Emma like a punch. Lila wasn't just a victim. She'd made choices, hard ones, to survive. Emma wanted to be angry, but all she felt was a fierce need to protect her. "We all make mistakes," she said, her voice firm. "But you're not alone anymore." The monitors showed Tara arriving, her silhouette moving swiftly through the lobby with 2 armed security guards. Emma's relief was short-lived. Marcus was still in the stairwell, closer now. The panic room's walls felt like they were closing in, the air thick with tension. Emma pulled Lila close, their foreheads touching, their breaths mingling. "Whatever happens," Emma whispered, "I love you." Lila's tears fell, but she nodded, her voice steady. "I love you too." In that moment, the world outside, the danger, the secrets, faded. They were 2 women fighting for each other, their love a defiant spark in the dark. But the dark was closing in. A loud bang echoed from the stairwell door, and the monitors showed Marcus prying it open, his gun raised. Tara was close, but not close enough. Emma's mind raced for a plan, her heart pounding with the weight of what they stood to lose. The bang from the stairwell door reverberated through the panic room, a stark reminder that time was running out. Emma's fingers flew across the console, activating every security measure Nexus Tech had. Silent alarms, reinforced locks, even a disorienting strobe light system she'd installed for emergencies. Lila stood frozen, her eyes locked on the monitor where Marcus Kane's silhouette loomed, his gun a glinting threat in the flickering light. "We have to hold him off until Tara gets here," Emma said, her voice steady despite the fear clawing at her chest. She glanced at Lila, whose face was pale but resolute, the weight of her confession still heavy between them. Lila's betrayal in Chicago, turning someone in to save herself, had left a crack in Emma's trust, but love was a stubborn thing, and Emma wasn't ready to let it break. Lila nodded, stepping closer to the console. "I can help," she said, her voice firm despite its tremor. "I know how Marcus thinks. He's not just muscle, he's smart. He'll try to outmaneuver the system." Her artist's hands, usually so gentle with a sketchbook, moved with purpose as she studied the security feeds. "There," she pointed to a secondary stairwell. "He'll go for that one next. It's less secure." Emma rerouted the system to lock down the secondary stairwell, her admiration for Lila's quick thinking mingling with her fear. "How do you know him so well?" she asked, unable to keep the edge from her voice. Lila's eyes flickered with guilt. "I spent a year running from him. You learn your hunter's habits." Before Emma could press further, the monitors showed movement. Tara and her team were on the 5th floor, closing in. But Marcus was faster, already at the secondary stairwell, jimmying the lock with a tool Emma didn't recognize. Her heart sank. The panic room was secure, but not invincible. She grabbed the phone again, dialing Tara. "He's at the secondary stairwell, 6th floor," she said, her voice urgent. "Hurry." Tara's response was clipped. "Got it. Stay put. We're almost there." The line went dead, and Emma turned to Lila, who was staring at the monitor, her breath shallow. "He's not just after me," Lila said, her voice barely audible. "The ledger, it could ruin people bigger than him. Politicians, cops, people with power. That's why he's desperate." Emma's mind reeled. The stakes were higher than she'd imagined. This wasn't just about Lila's survival. It was about exposing a web of corruption. But right now, survival was the priority. She pulled Lila into a quick embrace, their hearts pounding in sync. "We're getting out of this," she promised, though the words felt fragile against the reality of Marcus's approach. A sudden thud against the panic room door made them both jump. Marcus was here. The monitors showed him outside, his face twisted with rage as he worked at the lock. Emma's security measures had slowed him, but not stopped him. "Eliza!" he shouted, his voice muffled but venomous. "You can't run forever. Give me the ledger and this ends." Lila's face crumpled, but she straightened, her eyes blazing with defiance. "He doesn't know I don't have it," she whispered. "It's still in Chicago, hidden in a storage unit. I never brought it here." Emma's relief was fleeting. Marcus didn't know that, and his gun didn't care. Emma's mind raced for a plan. The panic room had a backup communication line, a direct link to the San Francisco PD. She hesitated. Calling the police risked exposing Lila's past, her aliases, her role in Chicago. But Marcus was seconds away from breaching the door. Emma made the call, her voice steady as she reported an armed intruder at Nexus Tech. The dispatcher promised a rapid response, but Emma knew they might not make it in time. Lila grabbed her arm, her eyes fierce. "If he gets in, you run. Promise me, Emma." Emma shook her head, her throat tight. "I'm not leaving you." Lila's expression softened, a mix of love and desperation. "You don't deserve this mess," she said, her voice breaking. "I do." Before Emma could argue, the door's lock groaned under Marcus's assault. Emma pulled Lila behind her, scanning the room for anything they could use as a weapon. The panic room was designed for safety, not combat. There was nothing but a fire extinguisher and a flashlight. She grabbed the extinguisher, its weight cold in her hands. "If he gets in, aim for his face," she said, her voice low. Lila nodded, clutching the flashlight like a lifeline. The monitors showed Tara's team reaching the 6th floor, but Marcus was already prying at the door's hinges. The strobe lights disoriented him, but he was relentless, his movements fueled by rage. Emma's heart pounded as she realized the truth. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about protecting the woman she loved, about fighting for the life they'd barely begun to build. Then, a miracle, the door held. Tara's voice crackled through the console speaker. Kane, drop the weapon. The monitors showed her team surrounding Marcus, guns drawn. He froze, his eyes darting, calculating. For a moment, Emma thought he'd fight, but he dropped the gun, raising his hands. Tara's team moved in, cuffing him as he snarled curses. Emma exhaled, her knees weak with relief. She turned to Lila, who was trembling, tears streaming down her face. They fell into each other's arms. The panic room's walls no longer a cage but a sanctuary. It's over, Emma whispered, though she knew it wasn't. Not yet. Marcus was in custody, but the ledger, the corruption, Lila's past. It was all still out there, waiting. As Tara's team secured the building, Emma and Lila stayed in the panic room, unwilling to let go of each other. The police arrived, taking Marcus away, but questions lingered. Tara entered the panic room, her expression grim. He's not talking, but he's not the only one after you, Lila, she said. That ledger, you need to decide what to do with it. Lila nodded, her jaw tight. I want to end this, she said, her voice steady despite the fear. I want to expose them all. Emma's heart swelled with pride and terror. Lila was choosing to fight, to face her past head-on, and Emma would stand by her no matter the cost. They left the panic room at dawn, the city waking to a new day. Emma's office was a mess. Broken glass, overturned chairs, but it felt like a battlefield they'd won. As they stepped into the elevator, Lila slipped her hand into Emma's, their fingers intertwining. I don't deserve you, Lila said softly. Emma squeezed her hand. You're wrong. We deserve each other. But the fight wasn't over. Emma's father was still out there, his merger looming, his investigators digging. And the ledger, hidden in Chicago, was a Pandora's box waiting to be opened. Emma knew the road ahead would test them, but as she looked at Lila, her heart was certain. They'd face it together, their love a beacon in the storm. The San Francisco sunrise painted the sky in hues of pink and gold, but Emma felt no warmth as she and Lila stepped out of Nexus Tech into the morning chill. Marcus Kane was in custody, but the weight of Lila's past, and the ledger's secrets, hung over them like a storm cloud. Emma's hands stayed clasped in Lila's, their fingers a lifeline as they navigated the aftermath of the night's chaos. Tara Voss met them outside, her face etched with exhaustion but sharp with focus. The police have Kane, but he's not the end of this, she said, her voice low. That ledger you mentioned, it's a grenade. If it names who I think it does, you're not just dealing with a gang leader. You're stepping into a war. Lila's jaw tightened, but she nodded. Then we need to get it first. Emma's mind churned. The ledger was in Chicago, hidden in a storage unit under a false name. Retrieving it meant leaving the safety of San Francisco, risking exposure. But letting it stay hidden meant living in fear, waiting for the next Marcus to come knocking. We go together, Emma said, her voice firm. Lila's eyes met hers, a flicker of gratitude softening her fear. Okay, she whispered. Together. Tara arranged a private flight to Chicago that afternoon, bypassing commercial airlines to avoid prying eyes. Emma used the time to shore up Nexus Tech's defenses, delegating tasks to her team while dodging calls from her father. Richard Caldwell's silence was ominous. He hadn't reacted to the news of the break-in, which meant he was planning something worse. Emma pushed the thought aside. One crisis at a time. The flight to Chicago was tense, the hum of the plane doing little to calm their nerves. Lila sat by the window, sketching absent-mindedly, a nervous habit that Emma found oddly comforting. "What's it like?" Emma asked, nodding at the sketchpad. Lila hesitated, then turned it to show a drawing of them, standing together under the Golden Gate Bridge, their faces lit with quiet joy. "It's how I want to remember us," Lila said softly. "Not running, just us." Emma's heart ached. She leaned over, kissing Lila's temple. "We'll get there," she promised. But the ledger loomed, a reminder that their future hinged on facing the past. In Chicago, the storage facility was a nondescript building in a rundown industrial area, its faded sign barely legible. Tara accompanied them, her gun holstered but ready. Lila led the way to Unit 47B, her hand steady as she unlocked the padlock. Inside, amidst boxes of old sketches and clothes, was a small safe. Lila entered the combination, her fingers trembling only slightly, and pulled out a worn leather notebook, the ledger. Emma flipped through it, her breath catching. Names, dates, transactions, politicians, police chiefs, even a judge. It was a map of corruption, tying Marcus Kane to a network that reached far beyond Chicago. "This could change everything," Emma said, her voice a mix of awe and dread. Lila nodded, her expression grim. "Or it could get us killed." Tara's phone buzzed, and her face darkened as she read the message. "We've got company," she said. "Kane's people, they must have been watching the unit." Emma's pulse spiked. She grabbed the ledger, shoving it into her bag, while Tara drew her gun. "We need to move. Now." They slipped out a back exit, the Chicago wind biting at their faces. A black SUV idled across the street, its tinted windows hiding whoever was inside. Tara motioned for them to stay low, leading them through an alley to a waiting car. As they sped away, Emma glanced back, her heart pounding. The SUV didn't follow, but the message was clear. They were being hunted. Back at a safe house Tara had secured, a small apartment in Wicker Park, Emma and Lila pored over the ledger. Lila's voice was steady as she explained the entries, her memory sharp despite the years. "This judge," she said, pointing to a name. "He covered up Marcus's deals. And this cop, he was on the take." Emma listened, her mind racing with possibilities. Exposing this could bring justice, but it would also paint a target on their backs. Lila's hand trembled as she closed the ledger. "I never wanted this," she said, her voice breaking. "I just wanted to be free." Emma pulled her close, their foreheads touching. "You are free," she said fiercely, "and I'll fight to keep it that way." Lila's tears fell, but she nodded, her strength returning. Their love was a quiet rebellion, a refusal to let fear win. Tara interrupted, her voice urgent. "We can't stay here long. Kane's people are closing in, and I'm betting they've got connections in the police. We need to get this ledger to someone we trust, someone outside their reach." Emma nodded, her mind sharpening. She knew a journalist, Mia Chun, who'd built a career exposing corruption. Mia was fearless, and she owed Emma a favor. They contacted Mia, arranging a meeting at a crowded diner in downtown Chicago. The handoff was quick. Mia took the ledger, her eyes wide as she realized its weight. "This is bigger than anything I've seen," she said, her voice hushed. "I'll need time to verify it, but this could bring down half the city." Emma nodded, her heart heavy but resolute. Just keep it safe, and keep our names out of it. As they left the diner, Emma's phone rang. It was her father. "Emma," he said, his voice cold. "You've made a mess. Come home and we'll fix it. Leave that woman." Emma's grip tightened on the phone. "Her name is Lila," she said, her voice steady. "And I'm not leaving her. Ever." She hung up, her heart racing but her resolve unbroken. Back at the safe house, Emma and Lila sat in the dim light, the city's hum a distant comfort. "What if this doesn't work?" Lila asked, her voice small. "What if they come for us?" Emma took her hand, their fingers intertwining. "Then we fight," she said, "together." But the fight was closer than they knew. As they planned their next move, Tara's phone buzzed again. A warning from a contact in the police. Marcus Kane had escaped custody, and he was coming for them. The ledger was gone, but the danger was far from over. The safe house felt like a trap, its walls too thin to hold back the storm Marcus Kane's escape unleashed. Emma stood by the window, the Chicago skyline a blur of lights and danger, while Lila paced, her sketchpad abandoned on the table. Tara's warning hung heavy. Marcus was free, and he wasn't alone. His network, those powerful names in the ledger, would stop at nothing to silence them. "We can't stay here," Tara said, checking her gun. "Kane's got eyes everywhere. We need to move, somewhere public, where he can't touch you." Emma nodded, her mind racing. She'd built a fortune outsmarting competitors. She could outsmart a killer. "The Art Institute," she said. "It's crowded, secure, and Lila knows it well." Lila's eyes flickered with memory. She'd spent hours sketching in its galleries during her Chicago years. They moved quickly, blending into the evening crowd at the Art Institute. The grand halls, filled with masterpieces, felt like a strange sanctuary, their beauty a stark contrast to the fear pulsing through Emma's veins. Lila led them to a quiet corner near a Monet, her hand brushing Emma's as they stood close. "I used to come here to feel safe," Lila said softly. "Now I'm here with you." Emma's heart swelled, but danger cut through the moment. Tara's phone buzzed, a text from her police contact. "Kane's been spotted nearby. He's not alone." Emma's grip tightened on Lila's hand. They couldn't run forever, but they could fight smart. She whispered a plan to Tara. Use the museum's security to their advantage, draw Kane out, and let the authorities take him down. Tara coordinated with museum security, positioning guards near the exits while Emma and Lila stayed visible but protected in the Impressionist wing. The crowd offered cover, but every shadow felt like a threat. Lila's eyes darted nervously, but her voice was steady. "If he finds us, I'm not running," she said. "I'm done hiding." Emma nodded, pride and fear warring within her. "Then we face him together." The trap worked too well. Marcus appeared, slipping through a side entrance, his cap gone, his face a mask of rage. Two men flanked him, their hands hidden in jackets. Tara signaled the guards, but Marcus moved faster, spotting Lila across the gallery. His eyes locked on hers, and he pushed through the crowd, his intent clear. Emma stepped in front of Lila, her heart pounding but her voice calm. "You want her, you go through me," she said, loud enough for the crowd to turn. Marcus sneered, but the attention slowed him. Security was closing in. "You don't know what you're protecting," he spat, his voice low. "She betrayed me. She'll betray you." Lila's voice cut through, steady and fierce. "I made mistakes, Marcus, but I'm not your pawn anymore." The crowd parted, sensing the tension, and security guards moved in, their radios crackling. Marcus's men hesitated, But he didn't. He lunged, a knife flashing in his hand. Emma reacted on instinct, pulling Lila back as Tara tackled Marcus, her training kicking in. The guards swarmed, pinning Marcus and his men to the ground. The crowd gasped, phones out, recording the chaos. Emma held Lila close, their breaths ragged, their love a shield against the fear. Marcus was cuffed, his threats drowned out by the guard's commands. As he was dragged away, he shouted, "This isn't over, Eliza!" But it was for now. Tara approached, her face grim but relieved. "He's done," she said. "And Mia's article is live. The ledger's out there. The names are exposed." Emma and Lila left the museum under police escort, the city's lights a beacon of hope. Back in San Francisco, the fallout was immediate. Mia's article shook Chicago's power structure. Arrests followed, names from the ledger dragged into the light. Emma's father called again, his tone softer, almost pleading. "Come home, Emma. We can rebuild." But Emma was done with his games. "I have a home," she said, looking at Lila. With her, they rebuilt their life slowly, the scars of their fight lingering but fading. Emma stepped back from Nexus Tech, handing the reins to a trusted deputy to focus on her energy project, and on Lila. They moved to a quiet house in Marin County, where Lila painted, her art brighter, freer. The ledger's shadow lingered, but they faced it together, their love a testament to resilience. One evening, under a sunset much like the one at their wedding, Lila gave Emma a sketch, a portrait of them laughing whole. "This is us now," Lila said, her voice steady with hope. Emma kissed her, their hearts entwined, their future unwritten but theirs to shape. Their story wasn't perfect, but it was theirs, two women who'd fought for love against a deadly past, proving that courage and connection could rewrite even the darkest chapters. The city stretched before them, alive with possibility, and for the first time they felt truly free.